Hello and welcome back to Piano Spun Fiber Arts for our Boxing Day special. This is going to be a little bit more of a laid back vibe while I kind of show off everything that happened during Advent this year and recap kind of the highlights of the year for me and what's going on with this channel moving forward and what's going on with Advent moving forward. Very first and foremost, I want to thank everyone who has been here on this journey, or even if you're just tuning in to the Boxing Day recap to see what's been going on this whole season. Thank you and welcome. I'm so happy to have you here, and I want to give a shout out to the World of Wool team first and foremost for making the coolest advent calendar I've ever seen. The step up this year was amazing, and it's a lot to ask someone to keep, upping themselves year after year. So if it stayed exactly like this for the years coming up, I couldn't be happier. But the bag designs and the fiber choices, and especially the guide that went along with all the fiber this year, it was so appreciated. Everything was so beautiful. So thank you, World of Wool. And a double thank you to World of Wool for sending me the calendar this year. That has been incredible for me to have a relationship with a company that I really trust so much. They're great. So thank you to everybody. And now let's jump into what I know you all actually came here for and want to see. There are 6 socks that we haven't seen yet because they just were not ready. But as of this afternoon, they are. So starting back on day 20 with Mr. Bingle. I've moved the light so the light's really not behind the camera anymore. It's the day 20. I have another light, hold on. It is a ring light, so it's gonna reflect something awful on my glasses, and it's making a lot of noise, which I don't like, but I just wanna show these off really quick. So there's day 20. Day 21, Buddy the Elf. It looks so much better this way. Day 22, Mrs. Claus. There we go. Oh, and it's flickering, so I gotta hurry up. Oh no, I don't know why that's happening. Okay, everything seems fine now, nothing's screaming. There's day 23, Emmett. Oh, see, now you can see how nice that contrast actually is. Okay, and now up to our final 2 days. Day 24, Christmas Eve. I could take a bath in this yarn. This was our family tree. Day 24. This yarn is ultrafine merino, camel, yak, and cashmere. Even just like holding it, it's warming up to the touch, and it is one of the softest things I've ever felt. This one is, I almost feel bad about the Franken project because of this yarn. And then day 25, proving once again that all of my favorite blends have Shetland in them. And all of my favorite sweater yarns are made of Shetland. This was our final yarn. Merry Christmas, yoo-hoo. So now we can finally see that finished calendar. I'm gonna hang all of these in their rightful places. Ta-da! Now, I like to think that we're all nerds here, so let's talk numbers. The advent calendar this year had a total of 25 packets of 50 grams of fiber for a total of 1,250 grams of fiber. And I split that fiber each day. So the clock. I split that fiber each day approximately. I wasn't using a scale, so there are approximately 625 grams of fiber left unspun, and approximately 625 grams were turned into fingering weight yarn. Of that leftover 625 grams, there are now 418 grams left of all the yarns from this year. I'm gonna turn that light back on so that they are pretty. There we go. So this is all the yarn that is left from this year. Much more of it is left than got turned into little socks. And 418 grams is enough for me to make between 4 and 5 pairs of socks easy. Possibly even more. So the plan for all of these sock yarns, I just love the color palette. There's so many pinks and roses and purples in there. I love the color palette this year. So with the 418 grams of fiber that are left, or yarns that are left, fingering weight yarns, there are two things I plan to do with these. One is I'm going to scour the Stephen West website and pick all of my favorite sock and mitten patterns to make out of this yarn first and foremost. If you're looking for crazy color work, scrappy, crazy color work, I think Stephen West is the place to go, and I already know that there are some socks and mittens on there that are going to work perfectly with the yarns that we have left. I also want to try something with anything that's left over from that. I would like to make a scrappy confetti yarn using all of the colors inside the calendar this year and snipping that yarn into kind of a pile of scrap yarns that are each, let's say, 2 inches long, and then blending those with just a white base so that we get this kind of confetti yarn that has all of the yarns in our calendar this year. I think that is going to be a nice way to commemorate all of the colors before I work on the Franken project. Let's talk about the Franken project. I know it's what everyone's here for. It's what I'm here for. So here are the 625 remaining grams of fiber from our advent calendar, all in a crazy array of colors, textures, and blends that need to be used. So what am I going to do? I am going to create a big color work project with all of these that are left. I would like to make this just a 2-color work sweater pattern. That's the plan. I have a couple that I think will work. Oh my gosh. I could take a nap in it. It smells so good. Okay. My plan is to just find a 2-color work sweater pattern. So something that goes throughout the entire sweater. I already have a couple ideas for what this sweater is going to be. I just haven't picked the final one yet. And then all of that fiber is going to get put into one of 2 color categories. This is the part that's going to be really tough for me, actually. I want to try to make it as even as possible between colors that are in the white, gray, black, brown family and colors that are really bright. So for example, this yellow would be one of our really bright colors, this pink here. Things like this, like the Kevin Day, I am unsure of yet. It depends on how much we have of each fiber. I'm going to card all of these fibers up differently. So in that white, black, gray family, I am going to card up all those fibers into a blended bat, or a bunch of blended bats, to try to make them as even as possible. The idea is to end up with one heathery gray yarn, and I will spin that as a traditional 3-ply. I'll put it on 3 different bobbins before I ply it all together. I want that yarn to be as even as possible. It's going to have a heathery quality to it, but I don't want to see any striping in the final yarn. The other one is going to be made of all the colors that we see up here, anything really, really bright, I'm going to put that into some kind of either really, really fun mixy order or rainbow order, and I am going to card those on the drum carder as well, but I'm going to blend them in stripes. So the idea is that I will tear off stripes as I am spinning to make one giant gradient yarn. That one will be chain plied. And I am hoping that with that gray color as the kind of base color of our sweater, that all of the gradient color work will show through all the way down the sweater. So that is the plan. Once again, I feel like I might even still have yarn left over from that project when it's done. So if I do, I will get to that when I get to that. I try my best to use all of the yarn from the advent calendar somewhere throughout the year. Other than that, let's talk about some plans moving forward, some non-advent calendar plans. Firstly, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Boxing Day is a fun time for me usually to just kind of, I don't know, revel in the Christmas gifts. I got a really, really cool Lego set from my partner Kevin. And from my family this year, I asked mostly for books. So these are the books that I will be adding to my spinning, knitting, crocheting, fiber library this year. There is one book that I was too late to grab for Christmas, and that is Twist. Twist by Michelle Boyd is one that's on my list. It unfortunately wasn't coming out early enough for me to get it on my Christmas list, and I think now it's sold out, so I'm gonna have to wait to grab Twist, but I know that that's another one that I'm really excited to read. So I'm going to spend the next few days on winter break getting really, really familiar with the information in here. I feel like I can never have enough spinning information. So that is what I'm going to be doing for the next few days. As for things coming up on this channel, I'm of course going to have videos detailing the Stephen West socks that I'm going to knit up out of all of the yarn we have left over, videos on drum carding and making these yarns for the Franken sweater project. That'll probably be a little bit of a series because it's going to take me a while, but I'll start with the drum carding and then show, you know, the sweater when it's finished. I have a pact with myself this year. If you follow me on Instagram at Piano Spun, you might have seen that after Rhinebeck this year, I made a deal with myself that I will not be spending any money on yarn, fleece, fiber, or fiber equipment this year. My goal is to not spend another penny on yarn, fiber equipment, or fleeces until next Rhinebeck. I'm gonna do kind of a stash busting year. So I have you're gonna see a little bit of the setup here. It's gonna get messy. In the closet behind me, my yarn closet, I have yarn picked out for projects that are ready to go, which I'm happy to document. I have bags full of fleece in a different closet that need to be processed this year that I am also ready to document. And I would like to learn new skills this year as well. I have a sewing machine, but I would say I've never been really proficient at it. So that is something I'd like to learn to do because it's all sort of part of my goal to create a more sustainable wardrobe. Not a minimalist wardrobe, just a wardrobe full of clothes that I can be proud of. So that is my goal moving forward for this channel. I hope you have enjoyed Advent this year. I've had such a great time. And a shout out to my partner Kevin, who has throughout this entire process watched me lose my mind. I am always a very busy person, I would say, but this is the first year that I got to December and looked at all the things that I said yes to and knew that I had said yes to too many things. I've never felt this overwhelmed. I have never overbooked myself to this extent. I'm always busy, but it's always manageable. This year I would say it was a little unmanageable, but I got through it. Everything is done. But he is under strict orders next year to knock some sense into me if I try to do 3 shows at the same time next year during December. So next year, it should be much more smooth sailing for me personally, sort of emotional and physical health-wise, because I will not be so busy. Not that I was happy to be busy. I am excited to see you in the new year. I'm excited to curl up with a bunch of books and take a break. I hope you have enjoyed Advent. I have, and I will see you next year. Bye.